The ocean is alive with the sound of life. The light cannot carry any information a few meters underneath the surface, while sound can slide over thousands of kilometers, carrying vital information for the marine ecosystems. Polluting this channel of communication means condemning the sea of a permanent imbalance. Nevertheless, for less than a century ago, men have introduced source of pollution massively into the ocean, and this is associated to all human activity at sea, being, as you can see here, oil and gas activity, shipping, control exposure experiments, science experiments, renewable energy, windmill farms, navies, and harbor and offshore construction. The pollution has invaded all sorts of environment, and nowadays there is not a single place around the world where the ocean is safe from noise pollution. This noise can get everywhere, and because of the property of the sound underwater, the sound can travel 5 times faster in the water compared to in air. And the low component of the low frequency component of the sounds can travel again thousands of kilometers. So there is no single place in the world where this sound is not invading the environment. So we all heard about the world of silence from Cousteau, and this world exists, but unfortunately only for humankind. If we put a proper microphone into the water, just as if we were a dolphin, if we had the ear of a dolphin, we could capture all these nuances of the sound. We could find ourselves in a world of 20,000 sounds and over, in a world that is totally unknown to any of us, in an extraterrestrial world in a literal sense. And it's a world where we ignore all these codes. We have invaded it without any discrimination whatsoever, with artificial sounds that are imposed with inhabitants, a cacophony that is now threatening their own existence. To understand better how noise pollution affects the environment, we have here, it's a simulator. This simulator allows us to understand how the sound source can interact. So here we have on the left side of the screen, we are only going to speak now about shipping noise. We have these different categories of noise. Each of them produces its own noises. And here we have a fishing boat. And if we get a little bit further away from this fishing boat, we can look at the footprint that the engine and the machine rooms and the generators produces in the sea. So this is the footprint associated to the noise of this single fishing boat. And when we get closer to it, we can feel how noisy this is. Now we can get another ship, a noisy one, container ship. And we do the same exercise, so we get a bit further, and we can see that this footprint is much larger than the one we saw for the fishing. And this is in the Balears. This is the Barcelona coast, which is situated 150 kilometers away. So we can see that. I mean, this is only one of the ships, and we know that there are over 50,000 of these ships around the world sailing every day, so producing this noise. And we are only speaking about one sources of noise. Here we have chosen the cetacean species, and we have heard for a very little while the sound they produce without any contamination. This is what you hear. This was a sperm whale. This is a baleen whale, no contamination, and when it gets closer to the source, their signals are completely masked. This prevents them to use vital information to look for their food and to prevent collisions with ships. Here we have a dolphin, and the rules apply the same. Without contamination, he can hear himself. When he gets very close to the source, there is no way this animal can hear the sound. So this gives us an idea of what is going on in the ocean. But unfortunately, this masking effect, which is already threaten the balance of the ecosystem is not the only problem they have. When the animal is too close to the source, what we get is this kind of effect. The animal gets injured, so he has no way to survive. It is like the expansion wave after an explosion. So this gets the animal. I mean, it kills the animal on the spot, or it impairs it, and so it cannot avoid collisions. And
so
this is
the noise kills the animal?
yeah. If the animal is too close to the source, yeah, it is like an expansion wave.
You will hit something. You hit the wall or something.
No, the sound, and then if it doesn't kill, then they are impaired, and a ship can collide. So it's both. Yeah, there is this. I will come back to it. Unfortunately, this effect is not only on the marine mammals and the whales, but also on the other species, and in particular the invertebrates, the octopus, the squids, the cuttlefish, and the shellfish. That when they are exposed to sound, they also present trauma in organs that are not meant to hear, that cannot hear. These animals cannot hear anything, but they perceive the sound through organs that maintain them in balance in the water column. And when they are exposed to the same sound sources as we saw, there are these massive stranding events. So this effect of noise is really affecting the whole food chain, not only the animals that use sound for a living. So you will ask, well, knowing this, what can we do? Well, fortunately, there is, we have today the capacity and the duty to act, and the technology exists and can allow the industrial operators to continue operating without having this collateral negative effect that are associated to their activity. This technology takes the form of smart ears that we can see here, capable of discriminating the sounds produced from the animals in the permanent hubbub of the oceans and transmit this position to the operators so they can take action to mitigate this impact. The process is carried out in 3 phases that we could see. First one, there is a microphone that records the data. Then there is an artificial brain that recognizes in real time the different parameters that are associated to each species. And then the third phase is to transmit this information to the operators so they can take timely actions to expose this animal to lethal sources. This program is called LIDO. This is a software package. It stands for Listen to the Deep Ocean. And there is a website that is available for the public, so anyone can connect to a series of sensors that are deployed all over the world in different oceans. Some of them are at 3,000 meter depth, and they are cable to shore, so we have access to all these data. This website you can have, is it here? Is listentothedeep.com, and when you enter it, so this is a video that was recorded a few minutes before getting into the room, just in case the website, the Wi-Fi would not work well. So when you enter this website, you are given the choice to look at the different spots. All of these spots, there are these observatories that are connected to this software package that analyzes in real time the different sounds. What we see in the upper screen, this is a spectrogram. This is a 3D representation of the sound. It's just like a partition that a musician of the sea could read. So for people, we should be able to hear something at the moment. Well, there is not much at the moment. These are mussels and shrimps that are. This is the observatory that we can see in the screen is at 20-meter depth, so there are not much more species than these mussels or shrimps. But you can also see that there are these different boats that are in the area, and the system allows to measure the noise from this boat and to build this map, this acoustics map, that allow to see the contribution of this noise from the shipping and the effect that this could have on marine life. And this is a tool for the management of future area to allow the industry and the operators to operate without harming the environment. So when we started this study was 20 years ago, no one was paying attention to this noise pollution. No one was hearing that this was threatening the balance of the planet. Now, well, I think it's because this is our own incapacity to hear properly underwater. We cannot hear properly underwater, and this has not given us the opportunity to take the full dimension of the problem for years. Now the time has come to avoid the conflict between the different stakeholders, the NGO, the scientists, the industry, the government must start to look in the same direction and hear in the same direction. The technology, as we saw, has provided us with a sixth sense in addition to a gift, but we can now have the gift of the ubiquity with the senses. Thanks to this smart ears, we can connect our brain automatically to anywhere in the world, anywhere underwater. But this gift is not for free. The damage already exists in many of our oceans, and this is our responsibility now to try to fix this wherever we can. But there are other places in the world where this pollution has not yet reached some area in a definitive way. The Arctic, it's the virtually virgin ocean in terms of sound, because the ice is protecting this ocean from these artificial noises. But the Arctic is melting, and this is accelerating, and this leaves room to conquest the last resources on Earth in the next years to come. But we still have the capacity here to act. And these smart ears that we are just seeing could be the only chance we have left to return to the sea and vital acoustic balance. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm opening for questions and answers.
I just want, a few months ago we read in the news that there was a huge number of whales that washed off in Iceland, was it?
New Zealand.
New Zealand?
Yes.
So do you suspect that has to do with the pollution in the water, or is it a sonar situation? I think a long time ago they used to say the submarines use sonar and then that confuses the animals. I just want to know a little bit more about it.
Yes, there are many reasons for these mass stranding. They have always happened in the past, even when we were not even on Earth, or we just started to be. So there are many causes for these strandings. But the truth is, in the recent years, we have found this evidence that in some cases we could associate the presence of human activity that produce heavy sounds, very loud sound sources, with the stranding of this individual. The difficulty is to be on a site and to get the sample. So you have to extract the ears from the stranded animals very close to the death, so you cannot wait for too many hours, because otherwise there is an autolysis that starts and the tissue gets totally corrupted. So you need to be very fast to extract, and then you have to fix these samples, and then you have to analyze this. And unfortunately, it's very rare that we can get on time after this mass stranding. It is usually a day after, by the time you fly, etc., because there are not so many people able to do this operation of extracting the ears in a proper way. And so the access to this sample is very limited. So in the case of this mass stranding in New Zealand a few weeks ago, there was no special expert. There were no people who were able to extract these ears and to make the analysis. So we are still in this way with the hypothesis. Thank you.
Yes, in the very back.
Great system. I'm very impressed. What I would be interested in is it gives you a lot of information, but in order, this system of artificially monitoring sounds underwater and then having these artificial brains to tell people, look, there's a whale or some organism in the way, and you could try and avoid it. So what's your experience in terms of actually providing incentives to the operators to actually do that? I know you have legal frameworks in some countries where this might work, but when you talk about the open ocean, how are you going to get people to actually go out of the way to not bother some random marine mammal?
Yes, this is a great question. Yes, operators tend to wait for the regulation to force them to use any system to mitigate. But in the recent past, because of this huge movement from society, in the case of Germany, a few years ago, there was this windmill farm that was getting built close to shore, and a few days after the start of the operation, some harbor purposes stranded close by, and immediately the first reaction was this was due, of course, to the building up of these mills that use these drilling and these very loud sources to drill and to fix them on the bottom. And the press relied this very strongly, and the government the next day obliged the wind farm to close. I mean, to stop the building until further data would be provided. And some of our colleagues who work in the area said that this area where the harbor purposes have had stranded is a common place where they see often over the last years this stranding. And there was no data that was proving that these animals died because of the exposure. But the reaction of the society was so strong that there was no need of any law, no need of any proof, and the operator had to stop for months, so they lost a lot of money. So despite the fact that there is more conscious of this problem, and law is getting slowly behind the fact at usually does, but there is this strong pressure from the society that is bringing the operators to take measures. And more and more, the acoustics is a very objective way. Sometimes the oil and gas needs to have these marine mammal observers on board, and they rely on the vision. It's really the capacity of the human being to be able to watch and to see if there is any fin of any dolphin, any whale. But the distance is very limited. It's a few hundred meters. And at night or with bad weather, this doesn't work. So acoustic is a way to reach these very large ranges and help everyone to find the best way to limit this effect. So this technology is really a way to put everyone around a table and to agree that we need to do something fast.
Let me then ask myself a question to you. Is there any paragraph in the law of the sea addressing this question? If the answer is no, isn't it a good idea for the environmental laureates to make a plea in that direction?
There is this Marine Strategy Framework Directive. It's a European directive that is including 11 descriptors for the good environmental status of the ocean. So this is a directive that tends to give back the ocean a good environmental status before 2020. And these 11 descriptors are describing the current status of the ocean. And there is the number 11, which is related to noise. So this is the first time that noise is considered as a pollution in the EU waters. But of course, this is only in the EU waters. We hope that this will be expanded to other countries. So, I mean, any effort that any laureate here could make, and if there was a statement that was made, of course, this is something that would greatly help. Thank you.
It might be a good idea to find a cause for a lawsuit at the Hamburg-based court of the law of the sea. And that could then trigger the kind of legal action that we need. One more question? Yes, please.
Thank you. Very fascinating insights there, but I was picking up, in fact, from the last comment you made. I was just wondering if there have been any attempts from the point of view of the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, including the Paris Agreement, because these are opportunities for serious advocacy.
Yes. In
terms of the kind of devastation that noise pollution appears to be, from what you've shown us. So there's really a legal area there from the Law of the Sea. I'm not too sure it's ever been taken up in some of those forums.
Yes, thank you.
Very good. Now, this more or less exhausts our time, and I understand that exactly at 2:30 or so, we are supposed to go into the middle room for a group photo, which is not so easy for so many people, but I believe people can arrange it.
On the balcony.
On the balcony, okay. Can you guide us? Yep. Very good. Thank you very much indeed, and have a good afternoon.